time about 10, 12 years ago when I was incorporating semolina and whole wheat in a lot of the stuff that I was making, mostly whole wheat at the time. And it took a very long time to figure out the ratios of how much semolina and wheat flour you can use, whole wheat flour, to come up with a good pizza that stayed crispy. So I finally did that. This one, I don't recommend making the same day ever. I would at least let it sit for a day to hydrate the flours. Semolina takes a while to absorb the hydration. So this one I definitely wouldn't do the same day. This one you can do in the morning, leave it out on the counter, knock it down, 6 hours, knock it down again after a couple hours, and then you can roll it out and use it. If you're going to do it the same day, I would suggest using bread flour for it, so it's a little more structured. That's what I did today. So I have Uncle Pepper's Crispy Chicago Dough. This is one batch. It's like 220 grams, I believe. 214 grams. We'll roll it out, we'll trim it, and we'll bake it. This one I used half beer, half water, and I used lard as the fat, and then I used bread flour. You can see. So this one sat for 6 hours, knocked it down, put it in the fridge, 2 days. Took it out this morning, 3 hours ago. It's got some good smell coming from it. 3 or 4 days is what I prefer on a crust like this. You can go up to a week, you can go a little longer if you want to. The longer it's in there, the more funk it gets, almost like a cheese, like a Romano sharp cheese. I feel like at some point, once it tips over the edge, if you're doing a very basic pizza, like a cheese pizza or like cheese and pepper or something like that, that's fine. When you start loading it up, I feel like it's competing flavors. When it's too strong of a dough, too strong of a crust flavor with a lot of toppings. No, you can't have this. You can see this one turns smooth. When you first make this dough recipe, I usually use a paddle because it's very dry. I put all my hydrations in here, so 43.57% hydration. If you're a pizza maker, you know it's very low. So it doesn't come together so almost like when you're making pie crust or shortbread cookies. So I usually start with the paddle, get everything to come together a little bit. It looks like it's very shaggy, little balls. Doesn't really come together well. Take the paddle out, let it sit 3, 4, 5 minutes, then switch over the hook, and then it will come together. If you need to, you can take some ice water and you kind of flick it in like you would with making pie crust. This will help get it to come together. But this one, since I only left it in for 3 days, which is good, I use beer, half water. Just gives a little bit of a start to the funk, but it's still very mellow. And then I use lard, because lard, bacon fat, and refined coconut oil seem to be the 3 crispest crusts at Crisco, but I don't really like using Crisco, or shortening, I guess they call it. And since there's a lot going on here, I didn't need to use a heavy, like a corn oil or butter, again, because it's just putting too much into it, going over the top with it. And with pizza, I feel like you be conscious of your toppings when you're picking your crusts. Speaking of, so that was Uncle Pepper's Crispy Chicago Dough.